In the early 1970s, Frederick, Maryland was a small but steadily growing city, situated in close proximity to Baltimore and Washington, D.C. It began attracting more of those cities' residents looking to move out to the suburbs, nearly doubling its population from that decade by 1990, and has continued to expand since then. Previously an agricultural region, new highways would see a growth in other industries, and in the early 70s, mall developers were eyeing the area up for not one, but two separate shopping centers. The first mall announced would be the Frederick Town Center in 1969, followed 3 years later by the Francis Scott Key Mall. Where once was a sleepy rural community, locals now had not one but two shopping centers, which they referred to as the Old Mall and the New Mall. While the Old Mall would eventually close in 2013, Francis Scott Key has remained a popular destination. While this mall would be one that I could dig up some of the least amount of historical photos or stories on, the history is still alive inside the mall itself, which has retained a large amount of its vintage design.
If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. In our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description.
When first announced, many were skeptical that Frederick could support two malls, and with the town center located along a highly trafficked area of US Route 40 known as the Golden Mile, it looked like the FSK Mall would never have a chance when Crown American Corporation would purchase 265 acres of farmland beside a quarry about a mile out of town. They announced an ambitious 3-phase development that would begin with a hotel and industrial complex, followed by the 4-acre, 600,000 square foot shopping mall with 70 inline tenants, to be built at a cost of $75 to $100 million. Construction on the mall would begin in late 1974, planned to open 3 years later, but would find itself stalled when the 3 planned anchor stores all pulled out due to the nation's poor economy, which was experiencing high inflation and unemployment rates at that time. After a few stalled years, Hess's would announce their 16th department store and first outside of Pennsylvania would be added to the planned mall, followed by Sears, and Francis Scott Key would open its doors late 1978, holding a classic car show that November to coincide with Sears' grand opening. Followed by a rather eclectic music festival early the next year with a costume contest, 18-piece orchestra, rock, and country singers. Subsequent anniversary celebrations would all feature bizarre sales, daily puppet shows, and the owners would order decorated cakes for each of their tenants as a thank you. For the holiday season, Santa Claus would be set up along with puppet shows and miniature train rides. The third anchor of GB would finally open in summer 1980. As part of a fundraiser for the American Heart Association, FSK and radio station WXCS 107X would hold a MASH Bash in 1983, following the television series cancellation. The festival included jazzercise demonstrations and a MASH character lookalike competition, with the winners receiving a $25 mall gift certificate. A 1986 health fair's highlight would be a magician performing his own aerial stunt he called the Death Drop, where he would escape from a straitjacket while suspended upside down from a hot air balloon 100 feet off the ground outside of the mall. In 1989, the first major and certainly the strangest crime would occur here, when a woman in the Millart's jewelry store inside would ask to see a $4,000 diamond ring. When the clerk brought it out to her, she pulled a gun and stole it. 1 week later, however, a different jewelry store inside the mall would receive an envelope with that ring and a letter that was written out of clipped words from magazines and papers. The bizarre letter read, "I am sorry I took the ring. The gun was a toy. I have brought shame to my family. I will die now. You'll find me under Great Falls." Though police would check the Great Falls area of the Potomac River near Washington, D.C., nothing was ever found. The early 90s would see a major change-up and renovations to the mall. First, with Leggett's department store building a fourth anchor onto the mall, while across the concourse, GB would close, and their anchor was split into a Value City and designer shoe warehouse, along with renovations to the concourse that would add new ceiling, skylights, seating, and plants, all of which would be completed by 1992. But just 1 year later, while the Sears building was also expanding, an over 5,600 square foot section of ceiling in the Leggett's would collapse as a result of snow buildup. No one would be injured thanks to the store's manager ordering the store evacuated just 10 minutes before the collapse when he heard cracking noises. Thieves would hit the mall in 1994. First, when over $9,000 worth of rings were taken from the Katz jewelers as an accomplice distracted the clerk. Then, 4 months later, a trucker pulled over the lot when someone with a pistol would rob him of 2 bags full of thousands of dollars. Though why he had that in his truck is unknown. Another thief would be caught in 1999 when a woman was caught stealing a pair of shoes in the mall. But when she knocked him over in her escape, she would leave her 3-year-old son behind, earning her a $4,000 fine and the possibility of up to 27 years jail time. Crown would finally sell them all in 2003 to Priat, the Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust, who secured a $55 million loan to complete the purchase. More jewelry store robberies would end badly when police would fatally shoot a man who stole a $500 necklace from the Kay's jeweler in October 2008, after he reportedly lunged at them with a pair of scissors following a chase off the property. In 2013, the decades-long battle between the new and old mall would conclude when Frederick Town Center would close. That same year, a unique tenant would come into this mall, when the Kids First Swim Center would open a new location where the nail salon used to be. Since that time, while the mall has welcomed a few other non-traditional tenants such as a children's play center, it has continued to operate as a retail space, with its Sears anchor staying in business until 2023, one of the final 20 Sears in operation around the entire country. While Priet would announce bankruptcy that same year, they would restructure and reemerge in 2024, just as Dick's Sporting Goods would announce that they plan to open a House of Sports entertainment complex inside the former Sears, while LA Fitness would take over their current, smaller anchor in the former Woolworths. The allure of shiny jewelry has not stopped thieves from visiting the mall either, when two men robbed Walden Jewelers of a $22,000 ring, with security apprehending one of the men while the other did manage to escape. In March 2025, another woman was asked to leave the Rainbow Shoe Store when she alleged an employee used a racial slur against her, and as she was being escorted out, she pulled a pocket knife and slashed the employee's face. In her testimony, the employee said the only word she said was calling the woman sunshine. While its history is not as extensive as other malls, Francis Scott Key has operated successfully for nearly half a century, as many other malls have come and gone. Today, that area once on the outskirts of town is a thriving commercial hub in its own right. And as long as the mall continues to stay relevant in the difficult retail landscape, it can hopefully remain a vital part of Frederick's community for many years to come.